Hi guys, Dave here from LoveAdmin. Just want to check to see if you all can hear me okay. You'll see there's a little chat box that you can put comments into. So if you've got any questions along the way, feel free to pop the question into that box, and I'll be stopping periodically to answer any questions you have. So if maybe you can just put in there whether you can hear us. Yep, I can hear you. Good, good, good. Right, well, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. We're going to go through our development program today in a bit of a deep dive, and we're going to show you some new functionality that we've got around managing certificates. I'll start the webinar at the end of the process. I want to show you what the system is able to do with these new certificates, and then we'll wind back and show you how that will how to build that out. So with certificates, it tends to fall into two brackets. There are some clubs that charge for the certificates and their badges, and there are some clubs that offer that inclusive of their fees. So I'm going to show you, it works very similar to both, but there's just a couple of extra steps for those that want to charge. So hopefully you can all see my screen. Maybe just pop into the chat box just to confirm you can. Yep, okay, good. Right, so you'll all be familiar with this. I think we're pretty much just customers on this call here. So I'm going to come over here to contacts and classes. And again, just a reminder, I'm jumping right into the end of the process. Just bear with me 2 secs. Okay, yeah, so contacts and classes. I'm going to click into this class here. It's a Thursday 5 till 6 class. Now, I've used our development program functionality to say that we're working on badge 8. Now I can use that functionality either on the app or via the web application, and I'm going to come to that piece later. I've got here that I've recorded that we've achieved pretty much all the skills within that badge 8. And what I want to do now is record that they've the gymnasts here in this case have achieved that level. So I'm just going to come here and select them. I'm going to just deselect the bottom one because I've already done that. I'm going to go to actions and I'm going to go update level achieved. I'm going to select the development program and I'm going to select they've achieved badge 8. Now you can award multiple levels at the same time. I'm just going to do one here. And when I click on OK, a box will pop up and it will tell me how many skills they've achieved from that level. So some clubs only award the level once everybody's achieved all the skills. Some clubs are happy to award when they've achieved a certain number of skills. So here it will tell you how many skills they've achieved, and if you hover over it, it will tell you which skills they are. So I'm happy to pass everybody here. So I can click on the top one, and I've got two options. I've got update level achieved and generate certificate, or I've just got update level achieved. So if I am going to be charging for my certificates, I would click on the right-hand side one here. If I am not charging for certificates, I'll be clicking on the left-hand side one, just because we can skip a couple of steps because there's no payment. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to split this out. I'm going to take the first 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to generate a certificate for them as if they don't have to pay for it. And it'll come back and it'll say, okay, level achieved has been updated successfully. Great. To download and print the certificates, go to settings, certificates and downloads. Okay. I'm just going to come back into that and I'm going to select everybody again. Actions, update level achieved. I'm just going to select a few more for our paid certificate scenario. Okay, so you see here that it's grayed out the ones that are, it's grayed, okay, 1 sec. Select these guys here, actions, level achieved. Okay, I need to check that. That's not, that shouldn't be happening. That should be coming up that we can actually record that level. Okay, fine. I'll come back to that. All right, for the ones that have, we've marked off the level has been achieved and we've generated the certificate. If I come over here to settings and certificate downloads, you'll see here that it's currently in progress. So we're generating those certificates in the back end. Here's one I prepared earlier. And we've got two options for the certificates. One is to download the full certificate. So you can scan in your entire certificate and we can overlay the fields, i.e. the name of the gymnast, who assessed them when they pass, and some other field data into that certificate, and you can print the certificate in its entirety. Or you can just download the fields only. So the reason you might want to do that is you might be buying your certificates from BG. So you've got a pre-printed stock of them and you just want to download the fields. So if I click on that, come back up, and you see here are the fields. So you'll just run those through your printer over the pre-printed ones. If it was the full certificate, I just click on full certificate. Now this is just a wireframe of a certificate. Yours would be all beautifully laid out. Yeah, you just print those off directly from the system. Now, for people that are paying for their certificates, when you mark off they pay for their certificates, they'll be added into a group. So in this group here, we've got badge 8 pass. We've got some functionality. You mark off they've passed, they passed the level, passed the badge, they get added into here. That means that they can then log into their online account and they can make payment for the certificates. So they can either do that via the Love Gymnastics app, or they can log into their the website, and they can log in and they can pay for those certificates. Now, when they pay, you'll be able to see who's paid. So if I come over here, badge 8 certificate payment. So periodically, you would come into this optional extra and you'd see, okay, right, these guys here, if it's green, means they have paid. If it reds, it means they haven't paid. So it is possible that they can log into their online account. They can select that they want the certificate, but then don't go through the checkout process. So you've got to watch out for those guys. Our system will flag that up. So here, all these green ones, I'm going to go, great. Okay, I'm going to generate the certificate for these because they've now paid for them. So I'll just deselect that red one. Actions, generate certificate. And then that will generate the certificate in the background. There's actually just, we're missing a notification box that comes up that says that's going on, but that will now generate that certificate. Now, what I would do from here as an administrator, I would then remove those people from this group, because I just want to know that everybody in this group I've got to generate the certificate for. So I would just go actions, remove from group, remove contacts, okay. And then that's it. So I'll check back in another day or so and then see who else has paid for the certificate, and I'd go through the process again. So those certificates will be generated over here in the certificate downloads. So that's it. So as soon as you're marking off somebody has passed the level or badge, whatever you call it, the system is now going to go, okay, I can generate a certificate right now if they don't have to pay for it, or if they do have to pay for it, I'm going to create an optional extra. And as people pay for that optional extra, they'll be shown as paid, and I can come into that optional extra group, and then I can generate the certificate from there. And I can just come over here to settings and certificate downloads, and it will be processed here. Okay, so that's what the system does. Now to show you how we build all of that out. So the first thing that we've got to do is set up those development programs. So if I come over here, now we have for gymnastics a whole heap of development programs preloaded on the system. So all your proficiency awards, some WAGs, some MAGs. So pick what you want from there. The ones that we have the ones that we have videos for are it's a BG Proficiency Awards, so 8 through to 1. So that's the one I've got enabled here. You can create your own. A development program is made up of levels and skills. So if I just wanted to call this one test development program. I can then give a level name, so I'll call it level 1. Then I move on to the skills for level 1. So I'd give that the description, skill 1. Now we have this abbreviated, so some skills will have particularly long descriptions. Now when you're looking at that skill on the app, because of there's often limited real estate on the app, especially if you're using it on the phone, we just shrink down that skill description down to the abbreviated name. You can tap on the abbreviated name and it will bring back the full description. So here I can add a YouTube link to a video of the skill. So if you've got a YouTube channel, upload the video to that. That's what we recommend. We're trying to prevent people, certainly at this time where there's lots of people using the development program, of uploading massive video files. So upload it to your YouTube channel, mark it as either public or unlisted. I suggest you probably do unlisted because you don't want Joe Public accessing all your beautiful videos. Or you can upload a file, so it might be a static image, a picture of the skill. Then you can decide what people need to work on to achieve the skill. And there's 2 formats here. So it's either time practice, that is by time, or by sets and reps. So come in here and you just give your practice a description. Then you can say you need to practice that, say, twice a week for 5 minutes a day. If the number of minutes on here doesn't match what you want them to do, just come into other and you can put in the number there. Then again, you can add a video or a static image and upload that. And how this works is that every time that you mark on the system that somebody is working on a new skill, the system will send a message to the app. So this is the Love Gymnastics app that you want to get your parents to download. And we will pass what to practice to a timeline on that app. Okay, so that's time. Another one is sets and reps. So again, you can set your frequency, but here the number of sets. So it might be 3 sets and it might be 10 reps per set. And here you can set the weight. We're going to be adding in body weight. I was hoping that was going to be released earlier this week, but it looks like it's going to be next week now. And then the rest time in between. We have something called credit. So when the gymnasts record their practice, the system awards them credits for that. Now with a time-based practice, the number of credits that they've received is related to the amount of time that they practice. But that's much more difficult for something like, I don't know, strength and conditioning, where you're setting them to do some maybe sets and reps. So here you can decide how many credits they can be rewarded for doing this exercise. Now, we've had quite a few questions over the last week or two about credits and whether they can be exposed to you guys, the coaches, so you can see how much practice these guys are doing. Unfortunately, we don't have that functionality at the moment. The credits was very much designed just for a bit of motivation for the gymnasts, also a bit of a parenting tool as well. So if they wanted an hour on the Xbox, that's fine. Have you done your practice? And you can exchange your 10 credits you've got in your bank for an hour on the Xbox. So it was never really meant to be viewed by coaches, but I think it's a great idea that we should be doing that in the future. So once you've created your practice, so I'll just complete this here. 10. I won't add an image. The next thing here is you can add reasons for not achieving the skill. So this is more appropriate for when you're back in the gym, hopefully not too soon away, where when you're marking off whether somebody has achieved a skill or not, if they haven't achieved the skill, then you can mark off the reasons why they haven't achieved the skill. And then that information gets passed to the parent of the gymnast on the app. So for example, if it was front and back support and they failed sorry, can't use the word failed, they didn't achieve the skill, you want to say to them, okay, well, the reason you didn't achieve that is because you didn't show good form, for example. So you can map those reasons here. So reasons for achieving this skill, I don't know, fell over. And then you can select what they need to practice to achieve the skill next time. So I put in practice description earlier on, but it'll be, okay, well, you need to, I don't know, work on your core strength. So all those things that you set out what to practice, you can now map back to the reasons for not achieving the skill. And you can build out as many of those as you want. So yeah, when you come in to mark off that they didn't achieve it, you can select the reasons why, and then the system will send a video. Hopefully, if you've uploaded a video, it will send a video to the timeline of the gymnast and say, hey, look, sorry, you didn't pass the skill. However, this is what you need to practice to master it next time. So it's pretty neat. I'm just going to go back to, sorry, has anybody got any questions so far that you would like me to field? Just pop it into the chat box if you have. Okay, so from Emily, she says on the timeline for the time functionality, the development program skills bit, will it upload the practice description on separate days? E.g., if you put twice a week, will it upload on 2 separate days? Yes, correct. So when you are marking that somebody is working on the skill, and as you go to save that, the system will say, when do you want to publish this to the timeline? So you might typically do that at a time where the kids are just coming out of school. And then what the system will do is it will publish then, and then it will publish, I think it's for twice a week, it's like 2 or 3 days later. So the frequency kicks off from the first point in which you decide you want to publish it to the timeline. Lynn says, is this already preset for the BG awards, the practice advice and reasons for not achieving? No, so the awards are as per BG, for the BG Proficiency Awards. We've worked with Peter at Harlow Gymnastics on the reasons for not achieving and the reasons for, on what to practice, but that's really just to get some content in there. I think you guys will have your own view on what they need to practice and reasons for not achieving the skill. So you can go in once you've uploaded, once you've loaded that development program, you can go in there and you can make amends to it. So you can customize it however you want. You can put your own images in there, your own descriptions, etc. Okay, I'm just going to come back. Okay, so we've got this BG one here. So if I click on this, click on view, and here we've got the different badges, and here we've got the different skills, the reasons for not achieving the skill. So if I click into, well, let's actually click into this. So here you can see, rather than have to go into each skill and then into reasons for not achieving the skill, we give you the option that you can just see it here at a glance and you can just make changes as and when. So here I was talking about that front and back support earlier on. So correct shape not shown and lack of posture. And then here, what to practice to achieve the skill. Again, I can go in here and I can select whatever I want. So this is really rich pickings for you guys to go in there and customize and put your own message in there. One thing to make sure that once you have loaded the development program, that you do enable it. If you don't enable it, then it won't work. So I'm just going to come back in here and I'll go back into view skills. And we can just see in here, so run on the spot for 30 seconds. Now we've got some videos that we've already recorded for many of the BG skills. So I mean, these are pretty simple ones, right? Run on the spot. Some of them get more detailed. Sometimes with the skill, the same what to practice can often be the skill itself. In this case, running on the spot. But some of them, there are maybe some progressions in there that you want to build out. Okay, so that's how you build your development program. Now I just want to dip into this new functionality. If I come into badge 8, so For people that are already using the system, you'll notice this new column here, which is called Manage Certificate. So if I click into badge 8, you'll see on the left-hand side here a number of options, and I'll just briefly go over those, and I'm going to then go on to how we set these the background work for these options, if you like. So in here, we say, okay, when people achieve this level, we're going to copy them to a group. So I set up a group called Badge 8 Passed. Now you might have Badge 7, Badge 6, 5, and so on. So Badge 8, because this one is for Badge 8. Send an email. So as you mark off that somebody has passed their badge, their level, the system can automatically send an email to the parent saying, hey, great, Maisie's now passed her badge. Log into your online account or go to the app, and you can pay for the badge there. So that happens automatically. Now, if you're not requesting payment, the messaging might be slightly different, or you might not want to email the parents at all. You might just be printing out those certificates and handing them to them, and on the next session they come in. If you are sending us that email, you can select the email template. So over in the email template sections, I've just created one called certificate payment request, and I've enabled that there. Page size, we only have A4 and letter for our US friends, so for the UK customers it's going to be A4. Then you can upload an attachment, so the attachment is going to be the certificate itself. So I've just uploaded here a wireframe of the BG certificates. Now you'll probably remember they will say 8765 in the corner. So here is where we're going to be overlaying the field data. Now, if you've got your own award scheme and you've got beautifully designed certificates, you would just upload that in here. And you'll see that this can be pulled and pushed around. So if I just grab that, and I've done it to fill the A4 sheet. Now, because everybody's printer is going to be slightly different, you guys are going to need to play around to make sure that the fields appear in the right place. But yeah, you can just stretch and pull that about to get it right. And then you're going to overlay the field data onto your certificate. So we have these fields here that you can put onto the certificate. So you can put first name, last name, date passed, level passed, assessor name, or you've got this field here, which is first name, last name. So I would normally go for that over individual fields of first name and last name. So if I select that, you see that it's been added here. So I can now position this wherever I want. So going back to that tinkering to make sure it ends up in the right place on your certificates, you might need to just move things around a little bit until you get it right. So once I'm happy with the position, in actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to centralize it. Default seems to be left justified at the moment, but that should really be centralized. So I'll centralize that. And I might want to increase the font size, so I can just bump that up one. And then I'll do the same with the assessor name. I'm happy for that to be in a smaller font, again centralized. And then I'll do the same with the date passed. And again, I'll centralize that. Okay, so once I'm happy, I can just do a quick preview. So here, just pull some data through. Yeah, that all looks pretty good to me. And then click on save, and then that's done. So that's my certificate setup. Now, I mentioned here about a couple of things that we need to set up to make this work. So we need to set up groups for people to be copied into when they pass. So badge 8 passed. We also need to set up the email template. So you guys should be fairly familiar with how to do that, but I'm going to cover it. So just come over here to contacts and groups. So I've set up 2 already, but if you just click into create a group, and we'll just call this one badge 6 pass. And by the way, guys, I've written some help articles for all of this, so you don't have to remember it all. It'll be over here in the knowledge center. You can pick it up over there. You're going to select no to all of these, and we're just going to save that. It's just very much an internal group. Now, if you are, in actual fact, let's just do this next. So that, yeah, you'll just continue to do that. Once you've actually created one, you can use that copy function and just create the other ones. Your email template over here, email templates. You can see the one I've got set up here, certificate payment request. I did that just by click on create email template. You give it a name, subject header, and you put your wording in there. In the over here in the Knowledge Center development program, creating a development program, setting up certificates. I've actually given some suggested wording in here for you to put into that email template. So you might just want to grab that and maybe make some amends. So yeah, set up your email template, and then for the clubs that are charging for the certificates and the badges, come over here to payment options, optional extras. And you see that I've got two set up here, one for badge 8, one for badge 7. So I can just copy that and create one for badge 6. Just one thing to look out for, that when you are copying, one of the settings down here, let me just quickly go through these settings for people who are not familiar with it. So here, we just want to make this as a one-off payment. It's not a joint optional extra. It's a one-off payment. We put in the cost. We're not going to limit the number of people that can register for it. There's no early payment discount, and you certainly can't pay by installments. They don't need to pre-authorize payments. But then I can say, right, who do I want this to be? What do I want to associate this optional extra to? Well, I want to associate it to only people that have passed their badge 6. So when you use that copy function, it's going to select what was in the badge 8 one, which is the one I copied it from. So make sure you deselect that and select badge 6. And then no early payment discount, etc. And then here is the next important one. You want to display this in people's online accounts. So that means that when they log into the app or their website login, they can see that optional extra, and they can only purchase it once. They're not going to buy multiples of them, and that's it. But again, all those settings are explained in that help article. So just follow the screenshots in there. Okay, so we've created our development program. We've reviewed the certificate setup. We've looked at the email template. We looked at building those groups out that they're going to get copied into once they've passed. We've built the optional extra, so people who are paying for it, they can pay for it. So just going back over to that, just so you can see how it makes sense now. Just coming back into that manage certificate. So those are the groups. That's the email. You upload your attachment and you drop in your field data. So that's your certificates set up. So if we go back through to that process of recording people as achieving the skills, if we come back over here and go to classes, and actually I think probably what we'd do, actually let me just pause. Anybody got, oh, the chat box is going, right, 5 questions. Okay, from Andrea, can you upload and create your own background for the certificates? Yeah, absolutely. I'm creating a home gymnastics program based on the BG badges. I want to issue a generic certificate by email and not print it out, i.e. by PDF. All right, it's a good point, and one that needs addressing. So when you, if I can, let me just minimize that. If I come over here to settings and certificate downloads, and if I look at this one here, so let's take this 4-1 here. So how many people did it? Okay, so I might have marked off 10 people as passing their level and generated the certificate for 10 people. What the system will do is it will generate one PDF for 10 people, because the idea is before COVID come along, this would all be done in the office and we wouldn't be doing this virtually, but you would come in and you'd print that one PDF and you'd end up with 10 certificates. Now I can see what Andrea is wanting to do. She wants to send each person their own certificate. I need to just do a little bit of research to find out how in Adobe you can split out each individual page, i.e. certificates, into individual PDFs. So leave that one with me, and I'll see if there's an easy tool for doing that. Hope that answers your question, Andrea. Kirsty asks, can you do an extra payment for laminate if we want it? Yeah, absolutely. You can. You could do this. So so people, I guess what you're saying there, Kirsty, is people can either pay for just a one that you've printed out and your 160 gram, whatever it might be, or you can have a laminated one. Fine. Yeah, the way that you would do that, payment options, optional extras. If we look at the badge 7 one, I would copy that and I would maybe rename that non-laminated, and then I'd create another one called laminated. Click on save and finish. And then when they log into their online account, they'll be presented with 2 options, laminated and non-laminated. Back to the chat. Can the certificates just be emailed out to the parents to print themselves? Yeah, I suppose it goes back to generating individual PDFs. Now, it is possible at the moment on the system to do that. You can just come over to classes. It's just a little bit long-winded. So if I went into this class here, now I actually haven't marked that these guys are working on any skills yet, but I would just do actions, update level achieved, generate the certificate, done. Next one. Come through, select actions, update level achieved, generate certificate, done. So each time I do that, it will create an individual PDF. A bit of a ball ache though, I suspect, especially when you've got 50 kids in. But maybe right here, right now, in the times that we're in, we have a little bit more time to do that if you want to send those individual ones out. But do let me research how we can split one PDF made up of multiple pages out into multiple PDFs of 1 page. Okay, just coming back over to the questions. From Emily, can the certificates just be, oh, that was, I think I just covered that one off. Kirsty, can you do an extra payment for laminate? So yeah, covered that one off. Andrea, yes, I want to do that. Yeah, okay, so you can definitely do that. All right, so what I want to do now, so we've looked at how we set up the development program, we've looked at how we set up the certificates. Let's just go into how we record levels and skills. So there are 2 ways that you record levels and skills on the system. You can either do it via the web application, what you see here, or you can do it via the mobile application, which you would more likely do with your coaches in the gym. And I'm going to give you a view of how both of those work. They actually both work exactly the same in principle, but I think it might be useful for you guys to see what it looks like on the app. So let's come in here. So I've contacts classes. I'm going to click into this Thursday 6 till 7. And I'm going to select my gymnasts. Now, just before I do this, you'll notice here that I've got these column headings. So I've got level working towards, I've got skills working on, I've got skills achieved, and I've got level achieved. These column headings are customizable. So over here in column headings, select, you can pick out any column, i.e. any field you want to appear as a column heading. The ones that relate to the development program are, I think we actually have it listed in the help article, but it is things like working, level working towards, skills working on. I think there's another one for skills worked on. So you've got skills working on and you've got skills worked on. Then you've got skills achieved, skills not achieved, and you've got level achieved. So you can just pick them from the list here, and they will appear over here on the right hand side, and then you can just drag and drop them to whatever order you want to appear. And then you can say, I want to display this column for all tables or just for this table. So Okay, so that's the column heading. So I'm going to come in here. I've selected my gymnast. I'm going to come in actions and update level working towards. So I've enabled the BG proficiency awards. It might be that you've got 4, 5, 6 different awards going, so you can select the appropriate one. And then the levels will come up. So sometimes the kids will be working across 2, 3 levels. I'm going to select 2 levels and click on OK. Then it will bring up a box which allows me to then customize this on a child by child basis, because it might be here that Leah is working on badge 8, but actually she's not working on badge 7, so I can just turn that one off for her. 2 options down the bottom, so I can update level working towards, and that's all I want to do, and then I can just go off and do whatever else I need to do. Or I'm more than likely going to do update level working towards and then display the skills for those levels. So if I click on that option there, and just let the system load. Time to grab it. Okay, so we have the skills and the levels. So you can see if I hover over that skill, it comes back with a full description. So it's showing there the abbreviated description. Hover over it, you get the full description. I can either mark off that they've worked on it or they're working on it. So I'm going to say, all right, guys, you are working on these 3 here. And if I scroll over, I can access all the skills from all the levels I selected. Now you can see that there's quite a lot of scrolling going on. So if I come in here, I can get rid of a lot of noise. So it might be that I'm only working on the first 3 skills from each of those 2 levels. So if I just come in here and just deselect those and then click on view, it gets rid of a whole heap of noise for me. It will just filter those out. This page in particular is fairly sticky. We're seeing if we can do some optimization in the speed in which this loads. Okay, so now I've just got those ones that I've selected. So I'm going to come in here and go, right, you're working on these. That would do. I'll just select those ones. Then I click on save. And you'll see here, what day would you like to publish the practice instructions to their timeline on the app? I'm happy to publish that now, and I'm happy to publish that at the time. Sometimes what will happen is it will always put in the default today's date and today's time. If you deliberate over this for too long and click on save, it will ask you to put a time in the future because the time is clicked on. But if I click on save there, okay, that's worked fine. So that the parents and the gymnast now will get that sent to their timeline. It will send the, okay, you guys, you're working on this skill and you are working, this is what you need to practice to achieve that skill. And it will then set the schedule for the days to come. They'll receive a push notification for that as well. We've had some questions over the last week or so about notifications. Again, over in the Knowledge Center, we have an article on what notifications are sent under what scenario. All right, so you can see here now that this has been updated, so we can see what they're at the level they're working towards, the skills they're working on. If you hover over that, it will give you the full list. If I, in actual fact, maybe a good thing to show you is, no, I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, right, so that's what they're working on. Now, if you fast forward 2 or 3 weeks and they're coming around to assessment time, all you do, you come in here, select actions, and again, you can do all of this on the app. You're now going to update their skill achievements. So I'm going to select my development program. I'm going to select the badges. And again, I can filter out all the noise. So I know that I'm only assessing these 3. And for badge 7, I'm also just doing those first 3. Assessment date, I'll put that as today. And assess by. So we can, your coaches should be set up on the system to have access to the development program. I'll go through with you shortly what access rights you need to give them for them to be able to do what we're doing here. So I'm going to say that Emma assessed them. Now, you have the luxury here of all your coaches appearing, and it might be that you still in the gym want to record on with pen and paper what the gymnasts are working on, what they're achieving. Now, if that's the case, the coach will give you that piece of paper, and then you'll just be coming in here and on the web application and updating it in here. If the coaches are using the app in the gym, who they're assessed by, who the gymnast assessed by default is the person who is logged into the app and recording the assessment. So just one point on that, for gyms where you are just passing around one tablet or a couple of tablets and you've got multiple coaches using it, you might need to create a generic login for who is it assessed by. So you might create a general login for coaching team. So when it appears on the certificate who is assessed by, it will just say coaching team, as opposed to a name that the gymnasts know that has never assessed them, just because they're using that login. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so in here, again, hover over to get the full description. If it's a pretty simple badge and everybody is really it's a simple skill and everybody's passing it, you can just select on the top one, and then it will select all the ones underneath. If on the front and back support, let's say Gregory here, he didn't achieve it. If I click on that pen, it will come back with the reasons for not achieving. So that goes back to when we set up the development program. What is it that we put in there? Reasons for not achieving that skill. Okay, he didn't show the correct shape. Now I know that when I press save, he's going to get, sorry, you didn't achieve this skill, but I also know he's going to get a video say, hey, this is what you need to practice to achieve it next time. So come through here and just select these. I'm going to select just a couple more that maybe didn't achieve it, and I'll show you why in a minute. You can sort this list. We've got this going, I think, at the moment with first name, but you can switch that and you can sort it by last name if you wanted to view the data in that way. So from here, if I hover over save, a couple of options. I can just save, it will just stay on this page. Save and record achievements for another level. So if you wanted to go off and record it for another level, you can do. I suggest you probably don't, because you can select the different levels there. And then you've got this one here, which is save and award level. You see that that's grayed out. You can, for some people, come in and say, oh, well, actually, Alison and Everly, you guys actually have passed your level now. So I can just select you and I can save and award the level just for them. And then that will then generate the certificate for them. Somebody's not on mute, so just bear with me 2 seconds.
No, I need that plugged in actually. Unplug Alexa.
Oh, hold on, Andrea Allen, I'm muting you. So yeah, you can award the level directly from here if you want to. I'm just going to deselect that, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to return to group. Before I do that, I'm just going to check the chat to see if anybody's got any questions. Okay, let's have a look where you're going back to. Okay, can you do this if the parents don't have the app? Yeah, absolutely. The parents don't have to have the app. The app is the engagement factor. It's not a requirement for you to be able to record the levels and skills that the kids are working on. Can you turn notifications off for updating skills if the parents don't want extra emails? Yeah, this has come up a few times. At the moment, no. We do need to make that configurable. I am aware that every time that there is that you're marking on that they're working on a new skill, they'll get an email notification and they'll get the app notification. Each time there's something to practice, they'll get another notification. If they haven't done their practice, they'll get a notification encouraging them to get into the app and to do that. We need to add some configuration on there that do we add it so that the parent can decide what they want to receive, or do we make that the choice of the club? I need to look into that a little bit more. Okay, how do we find out if and when gymnasts have done the skills at home? So that goes back to the credit. So when they do record their skills, you guys, from the feedback I'm getting, want to have visibility on that. So that visibility comes with the credits. Now, if we just said, okay, we'll add that field so you guys can see it, that's fine, but it's too simplistic because credits are dynamic. So if I showed you, if I gave you the credit field and it gave a value of 10, so little Johnny has got 10 credits, okay, that's great. When did he earn those credits? So you then need to have a date search. So show me how many credits they earned in the last week. And then we need to build screens for that to manage that. It's not just a field that we can make available almost as a static field. It needs some logic behind it and probably a page to display it. But I am aware that it's something that you guys are asking for. What else have we got? Can you limit limit the number of notifications? I'm already this far. I haven't started picking. Yeah, okay. I'll make that. I'll make the notifications a priority for us to look at. Okay, from Rachel. Rachel says, I know that when you're recorded gymnast has passed on a level, it gives the option of deleting that level. Would you suggest doing this? No, I wouldn't suggest doing it. It's I think you always want to look back over time and see when somebody achieved a level. What date did they do it? Did they, who assessed them? It might be you want to see, you want the system to show you everybody who's passed badge 8 as of this date. So I wouldn't recommend deleting levels. It creates a historical data for you to revert back to. Okay. Right, any other questions? Can you find this information on an individual gymnast? Yeah, sure. Let me show you how to do that. I'm just going to save this. I'm going to save and return to the group. And so everything you've seen that we're doing here at the class level, you can do at the individual level. So if I click into Mia's record here, actions, development program. So here I can see that she's working on badge 8 and badge 7. So here I can see what she's passed, when she's passed it, and who the assessor was. But then I can make all the other, I can record everything else I was doing previously at the class level. I can do that now at the individual level. Okay, any questions on that? Let me just go to chat. No, hopefully that covers that off. Let me show you what this looks like on the app then. Let's go to, right, I'm just going to need to switch my screen. Bear with me for a moment. Sorry, just bear with. Okay, you should be able to see my screen on the app. So I'm logged in here as a coach. So I've given access rights to the development program, which you'll see there as a tile. So if I click into that, I've given this coach access to these sessions. So this coach works, say, on a Thursday. So these are the classes that she has access to. If I click on that Thursday 6 till 7, you see there that the gymnasts load up and you can see what they're working towards. So they're working towards badge 7 and badge 8. For those that we've marked off that they're working on a skill, it will tell you that. So your gymnasts don't have to remember all the time what levels and what skills the kids are working on. The app will tell them that now. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to select them all and go to actions. And here we've got update level working towards, update skills working on, update skill achievements, and update level achieved. So it's exactly the same options that you saw in the web application, but just on the app. So if I wanted to come in here and say, right, I'm going to update them to be working on badge 6, I select that and click on next. Then I can come through here and just select them all. Now, of course, I could have selected badge 6, 5, and 4, and then I wanted to deselect Elliot from doing, I don't know, one of the levels. That's why you see those individual tick boxes there. Then actions. So again, I can save and return to home. I can save and go back to the group, i.e. the class, or I can save and display the skills. Okay, so I'm going to save and display the skills. And I'm just going to flip this around now because it will be better landscape. So it's just loading up the data. And again, it's just what we saw earlier on. So I'm going to say, yeah, we're working on this skill and this skill here. And then I can scroll through to all the other skills and I can scroll down to find the other ones. And you see that the page freezes at the top. If you wanted to focus on somebody and if I click on Dennis, Natalie Dennis, if I just click on her name and I want to scroll across, I can do that, and it just highlights that I can say, okay, yeah, it's Natalie that I want to focus on, and then I can just mark off whatever I need to. And then from that, I can just go to actions and I can save and return to group. So yeah, it just works on exactly the same. So now we're saying, all right, when do we want to publish that to the timeline? Okay, we want to do that today, and click on OK. Sorry, click on the time, click on OK, and then that's done. So I'd recommend downloading the app and having a play as if you were a coach. I just come back here. So yeah, really everything that you can do on the web application, you can do here. So yeah, I recommend definitely getting involved in that. Right, let's. Does anybody want to see anything more on the app just whilst I'm there? Otherwise, I'll switch back to my screen. So if you do, just shout into the chat box. Let's have a look, see what's going on over here. Okay, so Rachel is asking, is there a way that when you update the level working on, that it updates it on the gymnast personal detail? Yes, it does that. So far, I've been manually changing it. Is there a way that when you update the level working on, that it updates it in the gymnast personal detail? I mean, yes, it should do. So, so far I've been doing it manually changing it. No, Rachel, it should do it automatically. Whatever you do at the class level should reflect at the individual level. If you'll find that it's not doing that, just ping me an email and I'll take a look into that for you. So dave@loveadmin.com. Okay, so Kirsty, once our gymnast had achieved and passed the badge, it disappeared until the next time when we passed other gymnasts. It then said that the gymnasts from before were still working on the badge when it passed them. Was this something that needed fixing, or are we doing something wrong? Kirsty, can you send me your contact details as a private chat, or just email them to dave@loveadmin.com, and then I'll get in touch with you, and we'll just go through that just to figure out whether there's an issue or whether there's just a process thing that we need to look at. Andrew says this looks to have more functionality since the update. To the update of the app, no, I think what we've been looking at here on the app has been available for some time. Maybe the update you've recently done was to update it from a couple of updates ago, but no, you've got everything you're seeing here now has been here for a little while. We're constantly making little improvements and tweaks for sure. She says maybe I'm wrong. Okay, good. All right, any other questions on the app whilst I'm here? If not, I'll jump back over to the website. And actually, what I might do is I might just show you what it looks like from the member's perspective. So let me just do that. So I'm just going to share my phone. I'm amazed at how well technology is working today. Okay, right, so you should be able to see my phone now. So this is me logged in as a parent. If I go to the timeline, first thing we can do is just click on Bevan's name there, and it will take me through to content that has been published. So here we can see that if I go to this point here, that we're working on a new level. So it's badge 6. We've got the video for badge 6 there that I can watch. And then we're working on a new skill here, which is follow my leader in pairs. Again, I can watch the video for that. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag between posting a new skill and then what to practice for that skill. If I scroll down here, you can also see some stuff that we marked off earlier on. So skill achieved, well done. So it confirms the level, the skill, who that was assessed by, and when it was achieved on. If I scroll down a little further, hopefully we'll get to somewhere. We've got the practice. So here we've got, this is what to practice for one of the skills. So here I can watch. Now I've actually recorded the fact that I've done the practice already for this one. So if this was a live what to practice, there'd be a little option, little slider bar there that I can slide up and down to record the number of minutes. And then on the other screen, there'd be an option for me to record my practice. Sorry, be awarded credits. Just wonder if it's come through yet. There's always a bit of that lag. Okay, so whilst that's coming through, actually just one point on here, the parent can filter out what they want to see here. So all the different items here, all the different things that can be posted onto that timeline. So if I only just wanted to see skills achieved, I can select that, and then I can filter out all the noise and just see, right, this is what I've achieved. If I go back one and we look at the credits, so here, if I click on the credits, it will tell me when credits were earned, and if I click on it, it will tell me what I did to achieve those credits. So I've just put in some generic text there, but it might say like you've done your practice, skill, whatever. And then the parents can add in more credits. Again, this is one of the complications about exposing the number of credits that the gymnasts have accumulated over time, is that the parents can come in here and say, here's 20 credits because you emptied the dishwasher. Of course, I guess we can apply a filter to say, all right, we'll only show credits related to practice rather than household chores, not beyond the realms. And then we can minus credits. Again, we need to take that in consideration if we're exposing it. So you want an hour on the Xbox, fine, that's going to cost you 10 credits. So that's how the credit works. It really was just designed for a little bit of fun and a bit of a parenting tool. So yeah, that's what it looks like from the from the parents' perspective. So pretty simple. Any questions on the parents app? Okay, when you tweak your end, do we need to sign out of the app and back in? Okay, yeah, good question there. So when you tweak your end, do we need to sign out of the app and back in? Ideally, what you want to do is sign out and update the app. I need to just check with the developers whether we force the update or whether we give the option for the update. So let me just make a quick note. I thought we forced an update. Okay. All right. I'll confirm that one. If Laura, if you want to just ping me a message privately or just drop me an email at dave@loveadmin.com, I'll come back to you and let you know that one. Rachel, when you award Star of the Week, how does that show to the gymnasts? Okay, let me, rather than, it will show on their timeline. There is some logic behind Star of the Week, and rather than waffle my way through it, let me just get the exact facts on it. It's not something that I've actually focused on, but I know that the dev team have been working on it. So if I can park that one, and I'll come back and as part of an email update to you guys, I'll explain in full how the Star of the Week works. Okay, what else have we got? I don't have the classes on my parents' app. I have a fake account set up. Okay, so the classes are only there. So you can see there it says classes. That only appears if you have selected to display classes in people's online account, i.e. you let the parents go in and select what class they'd like their child into. So some clubs at the beginning of term will say, right, we'll take everybody out of the classes and it's a free-for-all. You go in there and you register for what class you want to be in. That's why you're seeing that. Typically, you wouldn't see that normally. There, me neither. All right, donations and classes. So donations is the same thing. In your, I've got set up here payment options and donation appeals. So I've got a couple of donation appeals. Now, I've actually, okay. All right, so if I just click into this donation appeal here, and I can see an issue. Right, it says here, display the option to donate in people's online account. Currently that's set to no, that was set to yes just before this demo. It looks then that I probably would have to log out and then log back in, and that donation appeal would not appear there. But yeah, that's the reason it was there, is because I had a donation appeal and it was selected yes. So yeah, I suspect I have to log back out and refresh. So I'll make a note of that. We did send out an email earlier on about the donation appeals. I'd recommend watching it. It's a very short video of how you guys can set up donation appeals. I think very relevant at the moment. Hopefully the members and the parents are supporting the clubs. If they've stopped paying, then maybe it's a nice tool for them to be able to go in and make a contribution to the club, either on a regular or a one-off basis. Okay, let me just go back to the questions. Okay, all right, now the questions on that. So I'll just go back to the website. It's I've pretty much shown you all of the options now. Is there anything anybody else particularly wants to see? Pop it into the chat box. So just a summary of what we've covered, and if you want me just to dive back into anything, I can do. So we looked at how we create a development program, the certificate setup, how we need to set up email templates, groups, and for those people that are charging for certificates, the optional extras. We've looked at how we record levels and skills, so what they're working on, what they've worked on, what they've achieved, perhaps what they've not achieved. We've had a look at what it looks like on the app from an administrator's point of view and on the app from the member's point of view. Maybe just one thing to show you, again, I think it's detailed in the help article, but I think it's just useful to see, is the access rights that you need to give your coaches to do what we've been doing today. So here Emma is our coach. So I go into her record, actions, and access rights. And in here we see that she needs to be able to view people's information, edit it, probably not actually. And then down here I've given her access to update information for the development program. You can give them Star of the Week. You probably now want to give them the ability to generate a certificate. And then down the bottom here, account, and you want them to have access to the development program and probably not publish content. And on the right hand side are the classes that she's going to be coaching. So those are the ones. I'll make sure that that is in the help articles because it's fairly important that you get those ones right. Okay, any questions coming in? Can you, we still see, nice dog. Yes, yeah, that is the office dog that actually isn't in the office today because the risk of her barking is fairly high mid session. Okay, let me just change that back to the screen here. Okay, so I've just rambled on then about the access rights. Okay, can you see my access rights now? You should be able to see. You should be able to see my screen now. Let's just see. Is there any info on the gallery option? Yeah, I can show you the gallery option. So hopefully you can see the web application again now. Good. If I scroll down, there is a new option here. So for photos and post photos and video to the timeline. If I just switch back to my iPad. Just bear with, I'll load up the gallery option on my iPad. So okay, so gallery. Now, when the parents download the app, when they first log in, they are asked their permissions about sharing pictures and videos. And the options are, and I have to do this from memory, it's yes, no, I don't want any sharing, full stop. Then it's yes, I'm happy for this to be shared on my timeline, i.e. me as the parent. I'm happy for the pictures or images to be shown on the timeline of everybody in the class. And the last one is I'm happy for it to be shared on the timeline of everybody in the club. So yeah, those are the two options. Okay, so yeah, I've got into the gallery option and I can either upload a video here or take a picture, and then that will go through to my camera. So my camera says, well, I can take a video or I can select it from gallery. If I take a video, then it will just switch to my screen here and it will just show the screen in front of me. Yeah, I can do that. I'll cancel that, or I can upload an image. So again, I can take a photo or I can select from the gallery. So if I click on select from the gallery, and I can just go to here, and let's take one of Mr. Bond. Okay, so I can then position that to how I want it to appear on the timeline as a preview. Now, the reason for that is that you might take a picture, and if you don't have this ability to move the picture about, you might just end up with a picture of a midriff rather than the face of a person. So yeah, move it around however you want it to appear. Click on choose, and then in here it will say, okay, well, post only to their timeline. So Mia's said, right, you can only post to that timeline. Well, actually, she said, no, I can post it to her timeline, and I can also post it to the timeline and groups. So I'm going to say, right, in this case here, I'm going to select, I'm going to select one of those options, and then that's it. I'm going to post it onto the timeline there, and post to individual timelines, post to group timelines, post to all timelines. I'm going to post it to the group timelines, and I can put a subject header in there. And then that just got posted to the timeline of the group that I selected, which was Thursday 5 till 6, I think. So after I've done that, I can see what pictures I've posted. I can also, once it's finished, I can then go back in and edit it, and I can see where it got posted to. So yeah, that's a very headline overview of how that works. I actually haven't documented that out yet. I'll create a help article for that, and I'll share it with you guys so you can understand fully how that works. Any questions on that? Okay, after the nice dog, it was, can you print out any of the achievements for individuals, gymnasts if needed? Can you print out any achievements? So those, when you talk about achievements, I guess you're talking about the skills. Can we print out the skills? No, could you do that? I suppose you could go into their individual record, go into the level, and then you could print that page out. So yeah, potentially you could do that. So let me just come back to my screen, show you how you would do that. So if I go into Mia's record, so from here, I mean, you could print this page, or you could screen grab it. Just grab one of your capture tools and grab that and print that. So yeah, I guess if you wanted to do that, you could do it. Any other questions? Was that useful, guys? Did that give you a good overview of what we've that new functionality? Do you think this is going to be useful to you? I think you're going to have some feedback for us when you start using it for sure. Be great to hear that feedback. But I hope that you're finding this useful. Yeah, useful. Lots to work on and understand. Yeah, it's if you've not used the development program before, you're new to that entirely, then yeah, I get it's probably a fair bit to take in. If you've been using the development program, certainly over the last week or two, like lots of you guys have, hopefully this is a progression on from that. So they've been okay, so they've been using it since they've been shut down. Great. All right, good. If you've got any questions off the back of this, feel free to drop me an email or email the guys at help@loveadmin.com. Although we're all working remotely, we're still here to support you. I will probably, well, I'll definitely push this one out onto our YouTube channel so you can check back in it. I'll probably at some stage do a shortened version of it, so there's less of me waffling on and more just looking at the exact details of what you need to do. Good. All right, so if there's no more questions, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, any feedback you've got once you get stuck into this, let me know. I'll be making available the wireframes for the BG certificates, so you don't have to create those your own. I'll create those for you. We'll post them somewhere and we'll let you know where you can go and get them. So those are the wireframes that you're going to use when you come over to set up your certificates. So over here, it's going to be what you're going to be uploading here. So yeah, I'll get those out and available to you. Good. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for your time, and stay safe, and we'll check in again soon.